The Shiba Inu team just activated a live compensation system on the Ethereum blockchain. Victims of the Shibarium exploit can now claim tokens that record exactly what they are owed. It is audited, it is transparent, and it changes the recovery game entirely. This content is provided for informational purposes only and should not be considered financial advice. Market conditions can change over time. For months, the Shiba Inu community waited to see whether the development team would follow through on its pledge to make victims of the September 2025 bridge attack whole again. That moment arrived on February 16, 2026, when the official project account announced that the recovery framework known as Shib Owes You is now fully operational. According to reports, the system allows every user who lost funds during the exploit to receive a unique non-fungible token on the Ethereum network. This token acts as a permanent tamper-proof certificate that documents exactly how much the ecosystem owes that individual. The concept was first introduced in a year-end letter by a core developer back on December 29, 2025, but at that time the platform had not yet been built, and the developer himself warned the community to watch out for fake portals claiming to offer early access. What changed between then and now is that the entire system went through a full security review by an independent blockchain auditing firm, which examined the minting process, the payment flows, the token mechanics, and the access controls before giving the green light. The way the system works is straightforward, but designed with several layers of flexibility. According to on-chain documentation, each affected user receives a token that carries two key numbers. The first is the original amount lost, which is locked permanently on the blockchain and cannot be changed by anyone. The second is the current balance still owed, which decreases automatically every time a payment or donation is processed. What makes this different from a simple database entry is that these tokens can be transferred, split into smaller pieces, combined with other tokens, or sold on secondary marketplaces. That last feature is especially important. A victim who needs cash right away does not have to wait for the full recovery timeline to play out. They can sell their claim at a discount to someone willing to hold it long term. On the other side, a buyer who believes the ecosystem will eventually pay off the debt in full can pick up those claims at a lower price and profit from the difference. Sources suggest this creates a secondary market for distressed claims, something that is relatively new in the world of cryptocurrency recovery. Revenue flowing into the repayment pool comes from two main sources. The first is direct income generated by ecosystem projects. The second is voluntary donations from the community. Optional fees from secondary market trades on these tokens also get funneled back into the recovery fund, meaning that every time a claim changes hands, a small portion goes toward paying down the total debt. The security infrastructure behind the launch is a critical part of the story. As per the auditing team's findings, the smart contracts handling minting, transfers, payouts, and donations all passed their security standards. The audit covered asset recovery logic, repayment mechanics, and the overall safety of funds moving through the contracts. This matters because the exploit itself was caused by attackers gaining control of 10 out of 12 network validators and pushing through unauthorized withdrawals from the bridge. The total losses from that incident range between $2.4 million and $4.1 million, depending on which estimate you follow. The fact that the recovery tool was built on Ethereum rather than the Layer 2 network is also a deliberate choice. By placing the claims on a separate, more established blockchain, the team avoids the risk of a future issue on the original network, affecting the very tokens meant to compensate for the last one. A live activity feed built into the system shows every incoming donation and every outgoing payment the moment it happens, giving the entire process a level of visibility that most recovery programs in crypto simply do not offer. The community response so far has been a mixture of cautious approval and lingering frustration. According to reports, the lead ambassador publicly praised the development team, specifically naming the core developer and engineers behind the launch. Community trackers show that the system operates on two separate layers, with the Ethereum token serving as the official accounting record, and a parallel community-powered effort on another chain acting as a fundraising engine. The core developer had earlier stated that every project operating under the Shiba Inu Brand would be required to direct its earnings toward the repayment pool, and that any initiative failing to generate revenue would be paused or shut down to conserve resources. That policy, described as sunsetting, signals a shift away from building new features and toward clearing existing debts first. Not everyone is satisfied. However, one of the largest utility projects on the network voted to permanently shut down all of its operations, citing the exploit in what it called a failure to meet minimum security and decentralization standards. That departure, scheduled for later this month, underlines the fact that trust has not fully returned, even with the compensation system now active. Looking at the next 1 to 4 weeks, the price of Shiba Inu will be influenced by both the recovery momentum and broader market forces. At the time of the announcement, the token was trading around the 643 unit level, down roughly 2.36% on the day, but up about 7% for the week. It had surged to 724 units on February 14 before pulling back, and the next meaningful support sits near 575 units. In the bullish case, a smooth rollout of the claims process combined with visible donations flowing into the repayment pool could restore enough confidence to push the token back toward the 700 to 760 unit range. The fact that the system is audited, transparent, and already generating activity on the Ethereum network gives the project something concrete to point to for the first time since the exploit. In the bearish case, slow adoption of the claims portal, minimal donations, or continued departures of ecosystem projects could keep sentiment flat and leave the token vulnerable to another test of the 575 unit support. The broader market also remains uncertain, with traders watching for central bank policy minutes this week and a key inflation reading on Friday, both of which could move risk assets in either direction. The recovery system adds a new variable that did not exist before. For the first time, affected users have a functioning tool rather than a verbal commitment, and that distinction could matter more than any short-term price swing. The big question now is whether this system can do more than compensate, whether it can actually rebuild the faith that was broken in September. What do you think? Will this framework bring holders back, or is the damage already done? Share your view in the comments. A recovery system that once existed only as a letter is now a live product on the Ethereum blockchain. For the first time since the exploit, victims have a clear and auditable path to getting their funds back. Note one again, this content is provided for informational purposes only and should not be considered financial advice. Market conditions can change over time. Stay subscribed and stay informed. The day is over now. Remember to give it a big thumbs up. To see our most recent material, share it and subscribe to the channel.